Long ago, in the peaceful city of Saanvi, there lived a woman named Lila. Lila was known far and wide for her beauty. Her face shone like the moon, and her presence turned heads wherever she went. Because of her charm and grace, the people of Saanvi chose her to become the city jewel, the most admired woman of the city. But being the city jewel was not easy. She could not marry, and she could not belong to one person. By tradition, she had to remain free, entertaining powerful guests, kings, and noblemen. She lived in a grand mansion, wore the finest clothes, and had everything money could buy. Yet, deep in her heart, Lila felt lonely. Something inside her remained empty, though she could not explain why. One bright morning, as Lila stood on her high balcony, she looked down at the street below. The sun was rising, and the city was waking up. People walked to markets, children played, and birds flew across the sky. Then, among the crowd, she saw someone different. A young monk walked slowly through the street. He had no shoes on his feet and held nothing but a small wooden bowl in his hand. His head was shaved and he wore a simple cloth robe. But what caught Lila's attention was not his appearance. It was the peace around him. He walked with grace. His eyes were gentle. His presence felt still, like the quiet before the morning breeze. Lila's heart paused. She had seen many men, strong, powerful, wealthy, but none like this. This young monk was a seeker of truth, a spiritual wanderer, moving from town to town in silence. He did not chase gold or glory. He only followed the path of peace. Lila went down quietly, served him food with her own hands, and invited him to stay in her home during the rainy season. It was a known tradition that monks stayed in one place during the rains, usually for 4 months. The young monk, with calmness in his eyes, said that he would ask his senior monk first. And then he walked away. Later that day, the young monk reached the peaceful forest where his senior monk lived. Other followers had already heard what had happened and were worried. They believed it was not right for a monk to stay in the house of someone like Lila. But the senior monk listened silently. When the young monk arrived, he shared everything with honesty, how he had been invited, how he promised to ask, and how he was ready to follow whatever his teacher decided. The senior monk looked into the seeker's eyes and saw no fear, no desire, no confusion, only peace, and with a soft smile, the senior monk said that he may go. The other monks were shocked. They whispered among themselves. They thought it was a mistake. They believed Lila's beauty was too powerful, and the young monk was too inexperienced. But the senior monk simply said that if the young monk's mind was strong, he would bring light to Lila's home. And if it was weak, then perhaps she would pull him into darkness. It was no longer a matter of right or wrong, it was a test of truth. So the young monk went to Lila's home. 4 months passed. Lila tried everything she could. She showed kindness, charm, beauty, and warmth, but the monk remained silent and kind. He did not look at her with desire. He did not speak sweet words. He only stayed calm, meditated, and followed his path. At first, Lila was confused. Then she grew curious. Finally, she felt something shift inside her. She began to sit with him. She began to listen. She asked questions, not to impress, but to understand. And he answered, not to teach, but to share. She saw in him something she had never seen before, a light that came not from the outside, but from deep within. Her heart began to soften, her thoughts began to quiet, and her soul began to awaken. When the rains ended, the young monk returned to his senior monk. He bowed with gratitude and peace, and behind him walked Lila. She too bowed down, but with tears in her eyes. She said nothing at first. Then, with a calm heart, she offered her wealth, her home, and her old life to the path of truth. She asked only one thing: to stay, to learn, and to grow. The senior monk accepted her with love. In time, Lila became one of the most respected and wise women among the monks. She had left behind the world of gold and fame, and now helped others find peace, just as she had found. And so, the woman who once ruled the city with beauty began to shine with wisdom. This story reminds us all. True strength is not in resisting the world, but in staying rooted in peace, no matter where we are. True beauty is not in what we wear, but in how quiet our soul becomes. And sometimes, one silent heart can light up the darkest room.